Welcome to the most listened to golf in the world, the Fairways of Life show, on air, online, and around the world, with the most candid interviews, unforgettable stories, taking you beyond the ropes. Here's your host, New York Times best-selling author Matt Adams.
As we welcome you into the PXG Custom Studios, you have never played like this before. Log on to pxg.com. So we say congratulations to Team Europe, ultimately winning the 45th Ryder Cup by a mark of 15-13. And yeah, that mark was probably a lot more narrow than many people expected it to be upon Sunday morning. Team Europe is now 9-3 since 2002. As to some of the key points to this 45th Ryder Cup, in retrospect, only the third time since 2004 that Europe won a Ryder Cup on American soil. They did it that year at Oakland Hills. 2012, of course, the comeback at Medina. It was the fifth time since 1979 when continental Europe joined the efforts of GB and I. Luke Donald is just the second European captain to win back-to-back Ryder Cups. He joins the legendary World Golf Hall of Fame member Tony Jacklin, who did it in 1985 and equally as distinctive 1987, the first time Team Europe won the Ryder Cup on American soil. That was at Muirfield Village under the captaincy on Team USA side of Jack Nicklaus. The winningest European Ryder Cup players now: Lee Westwood 7 times, Sergio Garcia 6 times, Rory McIlroy has joined this threesome. He with 6 times to his credit. Europe is the first team to win each of the first 4 sessions of a Ryder Cup on away soil all time. The European side did, though, win just one singles match. It was Ludwig Oberg over Patrick Cantlay on Sunday. That was the fewest since 1959 when GB and I managed just one singles win. It's the lowest total in years since there were 12 singles matches. The American side earned 8.5 points on Sunday. That matched the highest total during the era of 12 singles matches. Scottie Scheffler, world number 1. He is the first American player ever to lose a match in each of the first 4 sessions of a Ryder Cup. As we say, good day, one and all, and welcome into the Fairways of Life show. I am Matt Adams. It's a pleasure to have your company. So where I wanted to go today with this show was to break down the hows and break down the whys. I've seen it. I get it. I've seen the pomposity of punditry that's been across the board in the wake of this loss by Team USA and the victory by Europe. But today, I'm not really interested in hearing from talking heads. What I'm interested in is hearing from people that have been inside the circle of competition, people that were witnesses to what actually took place at Bethpage Black, people that have been representing their respective sides in competitions of this level. What did they see? What happened? Why ultimately did it happen? So that's the direction we're going to be going down today. I'm going to get to more of that in just a moment. But before we do, check this out. We're in the wake of it now, where people are starting to talk about it. Europe played so much better, etc. Really? Look at these stats. These are from Data Golf. Strokes gained tee to green. USA was up over 6.5 strokes on Team Europe. Strokes gain approach. USA up almost 5 strokes on Team Europe. Strokes gain off the tee, almost 2 strokes on Team Europe. Strokes gain around the green, call it a toss-up. 1/10 of 1 stroke. Here's the key stat. Strokes gain putting. Europe destroyed Team USA by almost 8.5 strokes gained in that category. And after the victory, of course, there was all the frivolity that went along with it. I do think Rory was in their head with Ryder Cup in hand on the team bus. These videos coming obviously in from the social media of people involved. This, I presume, was them coming back to their hotel. I don't know if they changed into fresh shirts because they soaked each other in champagne. I love that. I love that Shane is in, what do I call that? European Tour PJs? And then when you see Rory come off the coach, he's still carrying the champagne bottle. This is back on the coach again with this video clip. And I think the argument can be made that Europe is on fire. Certainly, there are the smoldering ruins of Team USA. Chip Beck is with us right now. Raymond Burns will be joining us in just a second. Chip Beck, of course, first of all, good day to you, my friend. It's great to see you. Chip was a member of 3 United States Ryder Cup teams. Chip with a record of 6-2-1. Very much of distinction. Chip, I'm very much looking forward to getting your insights in just a moment. I promise you, too, that we're going to be joined by Raymond Burns. Ramey was a part of the SiriusXM live coverage team, and the coverage was excellent over the course of this past weekend. Well, guess who Raymond Burns was assigned to in the Sunday singles? None other than Shane Lowry, and this, courtesy of SiriusXM, was the culminating moment when the Cup was destined back across the Atlantic.
This is a big moment for Shane Lowry. We know he's had big moments in the past, but to hold a 6-footer to retain the Ryder Cup in Bethpage, New York, from 6 feet. Straight putt up the hill, ball is on its way, and he's hold it, and Shane Lowry has hold it. Europe have retained the Ryder Cup. He's bouncing around the green. The Europeans are coming over the green. Darren Kenny is jumping around the green. What unbelievable scenes here from Shane Lowry from Europe. What a scintillating match this has been. The United States have really put it up to the Europeans today, but what a moment for the Irishman, the man from County Offaly. He's a big man for big occasions. Tell me this, what's the emotions like after that?
Remy, I can't, honestly, it's the most amazing.
Come here, He didn't bring one for me.
Honestly, the most amazing.
You've won big tournaments in your life. You've been around a long time. Your
everything.
family, your friends. I believe you became an uncle today.
I thought after Port Rush I couldn't do any better, but this tops everything. This is it, like, for me, and I'm going to fight my nuts off over the next 2 years to make that team in a Dare manner and try and experience this again.
Yeah, well, congratulations, man. I'm really proud of you.
Thanks.
And Ireland's proud of you. Europe's proud of you. Thank you.
Ramey Burns joins us now. Ramey, excellent job with that moment throughout the course of the broadcast. As I mentioned, you guys did a fantastic job in bringing the 45th Ryder Cup to the world. So, Ramey, if you don't mind, I'd love to start with you, whether we're talking in the context of that particular moment or at large. What were your impressions of this 45th Ryder Cup on site?
Well, it sort of started for me on the 6th hole on Friday when I realized where I was standing, the atmosphere where I was standing, the noise levels of where I was standing, the spectators, the level of enthusiasm from the New York crowd, and obviously Rory McIlroy was getting a lot of stick on the golf course, and it took me to maybe 7 o'clock, half 7. I teed off, say around 9 o'clock. The noise that I witnessed, and now there's some very funny moments on the golf course where the stick was actually very funny, but it got to a stage where it became extremely out of proportionally bad. But you'd expect some of that stuff at Ryder Cup. But then the putts started to roll in from the Europeans. The Europeans seemed to me, in everything they did, getting to the green, the golf course was set up relatively easy, and I think that suited the European golfers. But the putting was where the Europeans, suppose, used their clubs as opposed to that was the only thing they had. They couldn't use their mind, they couldn't use the crowd, but they used their clubs to quiet the New York crowd. And I think that's where the Europeans were able to instill confidence, and that went through all the matches and went through all the players, and it went obviously into the locker room. And I think that's how Europe actually were able to win this Ryder Cup was through the wand, through the putting. And I've been to a lot of Ryder Cups, and I've seen a lot of Ryder Cups and moments in Ryder Cups. But if you can't putt correctly, you can't win these tournaments.
All right, so Chip Beck, let me pick up to that point with you because you've been in that cauldron and you know what it's like to be under that much pressure. When you see players missing putts, does your instinct immediately go, that's the impact of pressure? And if that's the case, how would one side be able to putt so extremely well, seemingly through the same, and the other side consumed by it?
Well, I think the Europeans just have a better approach, and I mean, I've never seen a U.S. team get together on a bus like the Europeans when they won, and the camaraderie and the friendships they have are so much deeper than what we have in America for some reason, and they show it a lot more. And I mean, the Ryder Cup is always a situation where you can't explain it. It's the element where people can actually see it and do it. It's miraculous almost when people can make putts like they did on top of our players too. When we'd make a 40-footer, they'd make a 30-footer. It was like the human imagination and the desire to win is something that you can't understand it, but boy, it's there. And that's where they beat us, and they have beaten us for the last 20 years because of their enthusiasm. My son was at the Ryder Cup this week, and they go 4 holes ahead and you have to kind of wait. And so it's people watching mainly. And he had a great time with his boss, and they were having a really wonderful time. I mean, I went there at my dine in Chicago, and we saw 2 shots. So it's really it's a fun event, but it has grown so much more even since '91 that the crowd is really a big part of the thing. I hate to see the crowds getting rowdy and the beers flying and all that kind of stuff. So, in England, when I would go there, they always were quiet during shots. They had a lot of respect for the history of the game, and I don't know if we have that anymore. Over here, the young crowd are more into the loud and crazy. So, hope we can get back to real decorum, because that's the beauty of our game.
Yeah, and I will get to the impact of the gallery on the festivities, but for these purposes, I wanted to start out with the glory of what Team Europe did. I also do want to break down the American side in terms of what they failed to accomplish. But Ramey, when you were on site on Sunday, what was the feeling like when America was mounting its charge? From your own personal perspective, were you worried that the United States looked like they might just pull off the improbable?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I went out on the golf course at 12:25. I thought I'd be finished work at 3:35, and this just went on and on. And then I saw the board, and I saw the red on the board. But what the American team did on Sunday, they should be so proud of what they achieved, of the mental stability to go out and win 8.5 points. I mean, it's a phenomenal day's golf for the US team. And going forward, I think they'll learn lessons. That I think the golf course setup might have been wrong from Keegan Bradley's perspective. I think most of these players play over a more difficult type golf course. This was a difficult golf course, but it was set up very easy. But I really don't think. I mean, USA just didn't play good golf. They came up empty the first 2 days, but the final day, I think you've got to take a lot of credit. The team should take a lot of credit for their. The way they were able to stabilize the ship, try to come back. And it was very simple mathematics. I mean, the Harris English Hovland match, I mean, if that had actually taken place, we might have seen a very different result here on Sunday. Like, phenomenal golf played by USA team they were sinking. They were gone. I mean, the ship was you only put a hand up out of the water, and then all of a sudden they brought this magical golf tournament, the Ryder Cup, back, and the atmosphere down the stretch became incredible, and you could hear the atmosphere of the crowd, and the crowd would keep going, and I mean, it was phenomenal television. It was phenomenal to watch, phenomenal to experience, and it was a very close Ryder Cup at the end of the day. And I do think the USA team should be very proud of what they achieved on the final day to come back with such strong golf in the last day in the singles.
All right, Ramey, before we go to our first break here, answer me honestly. Did you attend the European team celebrations on Sunday night?
No, thankfully
I don't
didn't.
believe
No,
it.
Yeah.
We're going to be back with more. It's funny, folks. When you're doing interviews, especially with multiple people at the same time, usually you kind of lead the direction and then you let them go their way. As you're hearing from our two guests this morning, they're already bubbling over with desires to go in particular directions because they're bringing it up themselves. Those pathways are pathways that we are going to go down. When we come back on the Fairways of Life show, stay with us.
It takes focus, calculated aggression, and a precise mindset for shots like these. When the pressure builds, only the sharpest ball strikers survive. And Kurt Kitayama activated Weekend Warrior mode with a course record Saturday and a flurry of birdies Sunday. Congratulations, Kurt, winner of the 3M Open with the Tour BX mindset. Bridgestone Golf, the #1 ball fitter in golf.
FlightScope Mevo Plus is the ultimate indoor and outdoor golf launch monitor and simulator. It gives you the club and ball data you need with the accuracy you demand. Mevo Plus comes with ownership of simulated golf courses for you to play and practice at home. Mevo Plus is an essential golf partner to help you improve and understand your game better. Put more purpose in your practice. To learn more and get your Mevo Plus, shop now at flightscope.com.
Golfers today are a different breed.
Who? Me?
We see the game in a different way.
We all have our own styles.
We swing our own swing.
We have one thing in common.
We are all about the details.
Introducing the Revel line of grips from Superstroke. With 3 distinct offerings to choose from, the Revel is in the details.
Our journey began with a simple yet powerful vision to provide the world with the highest quality Virginia-type peanuts. The Hubbard Peanut Company, where quality and tradition meet to create an unforgettable experience. Visit hubspeanuts.com to explore our full range of products and place your order today.
Middle market businesses are facing unprecedented shifts, which demand tailored solutions and decisive action. RSM stands as the unwavering leader of the middle market, empowering you to take charge of change and conquer this era of transformation. RSM. Experience the power of being understood.
As we welcome you back to the Fairways of Life show, yeah, we are still discussing and breaking down all things Ryder Cup 2025 at the Black Course at Bethpage. You know, since 2002, it's now official. Depending upon your perspective, we can look at it from the sunny side and say Europe has gone 9-3. You can look at it from the side that's a little bit darker clouds, a little bit. Team USA has gone 3-9. Former European Tour player, now called the DP World Tour, Raymond Burns is our guest. He was part of the live worldwide coverage of this Ryder Cup, a 3-time United States Ryder Cup participant. Chip Beck is our guest, 6-2-1, his record all-time. Chip, since 2002, Team USA has gone 3-9. Why?
Well, I don't think we have an inspirational leader like Seve Ballesteros. And I don't know if you remember this, but I'm old enough to figure out and remember that Seve in 1979, I mean, I'm in college and he's finishing second in the British Open, but he was upset at the American players and his tour for not paying, money for when he'd come and play, an appearance fee. And so he was really resentful, and he didn't play in 81 Ryder Cup, and it took Tony Jacklin to come in and beg him to play, and he had a lot of resentment. And the press was calling him Steve, and he just had that will to win. He was such a great player, and he carried that with him. And boy, winning was everything for Seve. And so Seve has kind of, for 20 years was a big part of their Ryder Cup. He still is. He's still like called upon. Seve, help us. And we don't have anybody like that. Like Paul Azinger was he's like a street smart kid that was like, I could ride him like a great racehorse. He's a great racehorse. I'd say Seve. It was amazing to watch Zinger because he'd say, Chip, you think I can hit that driver off the deck? I said, right between those bunkers is 10 feet wide. That's plenty of room for you. You knock it right up on the green. But he actually is needed more now, his ideas, because the players today are different than in my day. In my day, and I think a lot of the coaches were like, it's my way or the highway. And they didn't really include the players. But we know sure well that if the players are included in their decisions that affect them the most, like Zinger brought them in to pick their own teammates and get them committed to their team, they were a strong team. And it's the little mistakes that captains make that are a huge problem. I mean, like, even if Cam Young would have played one more round, he'd have probably gotten the point, and that could have been even closer. And like you say, there are lots of little things, but like they're even talking about changing the rule with with the envelope. And I think that might be a good idea, especially when you have a guy that's hurt. Because like I was telling my son-in-law, Matt Goolsby, that, man, when I saw Jesper Farnevik play, he was hurt. He was back. He couldn't get the ball out of the cup. We're playing Sunday, and in our day, we didn't make any money. I played hurt all the time. Because if you pulled a muscle, you played. You couldn't afford not to play. And I saw him going down on his knees to hit the ball so he could get his hips turning. So we need an inspirational leader, and we need some continuity from year to year. I mean, Keegan Bradley will probably be gone. They won't ask him any more questions about what's going on. And I think our system's kind of messed up that way. We need to really provide some great inspiration from our former coaches. How that happens, I have no idea.
Yeah, Chip, to your point of an inspirational leader, for a long time I felt that Team USA was kind of shortchanged with the tragic death of Payne Stewart in 1999. Shortly after that miraculous comeback at Brookline, when he died in that plane crash, I don't know how many more Ryder Cups necessarily as a player he may have had in him, but I think he would have been an extremely powerful force there, to the point of inspiration that I think could have rivaled that of Seve on the European side. Let me turn to Raymond Burns with the same question. Ramey, Europe since 2002 is 9-3. How? Why?
Well, I think their organization skills, the way that the historic victories and the historic times that the European golfers have. I mean, we all turn junior golfers and back at home, and we see the Seve videos. Fortunately enough, I got to play with him a few times, and Jose Maria Latabal, and you see all the scenes from the Belfry, and that's how most of us grew up as kids, and we all as golfers strive to be or emulate what's going on. And like the systems that we have back home, I know the American system, college golf is phenomenal. World number ones go straight, or world amateur number ones in college go straight on the PGA Tour. it's a very individual sport here in the United States. Back at home when we play for our country, we play for our club, there's a lot of foursomes, there's a lot of four ball. Playing in European team competitions, we play a lot of these different formats. We become very friendly with each golfer in other countries. And I just think that this team and Team Europe in Paris, we've seen the comradeship, they're more together, they go out and eat together. Like this team has been in New York almost for 12 days, 13 days. They played different golf courses, Maidstone, they played, I think, Fisher's Island, they went to dinner together, they came for 2 days straight after Wentworth. So they prepared better, in my opinion. Luke Donald is a very crafty guy. He's his structure and the strategy that he has delivered here and in Rome. He's experienced in what he's doing. He knows his combinations really well. He knows what player suits the other player. I mean, the player Rory McIlroy and Tommy Fleetwood, you're nearly playing your 1 and 2 in your team together. That's a big call. And to leave certain guys out of the competition on certain days, that's another big call. And I think Keegan Bradley, putting the likes of Morikawa and Harris English together, to me that was chalk and cheese. That the two guys didn't. I know they were even par when they were beaten. The two boys were 6 under par when they won. But there's a lot of questions that I'm sure Keegan Bradley has to answer in his own head today on how he formed partnerships or how he came up with a model. Was it a structural model? Was it to do with statistics? Whatever, like to leave JJ Spawn, like that's a street fighter. Some of these guys are like Cameron Young, another street fighter. Look at Justin Thomas, another street fighter. The way they play, the way they conduct themselves, they're not individual people. They're team people. They're playing for the country. They're the sort of guys you want to go to war with, and possibly the United States made a few mistakes on those choices.
Chip, when you hear Raymond talking about the decision process of leadership, and when we start to get into the nuance and we think about what Luke told us on Sunday night, where he's talking about, cracks in the doorway where light was coming through in the hotel room, or changing the bedding so they'd have a more comfortable sleep experience, the amount of detail is staggering. I know that yesterday when you were talking to Dom, because he informed me of your conversation, you were talking about another little nuance. You were talking about a weak grip versus a strong grip in a competition such as this. Just take me down that road with that one little piece of nuance that a 6-2-1 veteran at the Ryder Cup such as yourself might impart if he was asked.
Well, in my day, we saw players like Eamon Darcy. Now, you'd probably know him, Raymond, but he walked funny, he had a weak grip, and he had a real whippy swing, and he was a heck of a player, one of the greatest players I've ever seen, and he played with pure imagination. Well, as the players got better, and as I think their grips and their fundamentals got better watching the American players, because my generation, we played with all these weak grips that DeChambeau uses, and Morikawa and Jordan Spieth. And they're not to play professional golf, you have to be within 1 or 2 degrees of accuracy. And when you're rolling that face like we were taught as kids and crossing those forearms like Johnny Miller would say, let me tell you what, you can hit the ball all over the place. And plus, if I use a weak grip, and we're talking about a 1/4 inch, towards the top of the shaft, I lose 25 yards because I can't use my right hip. And, the great Doc Suddy said there's not one LPGA Hall of Famer that doesn't have her thumb, if you're a right-hand player, on the right side of the shaft or behind the shaft, because you can't use your body. And if you're an arm swinger and using your wrist, you're at a great disadvantage. Because like Morikawa coming in there with a weak grip, he's always hurt. All these guys have had surgeries. All they can hit is a little fade. So when you look at every player on the European team, every one of those guys has a Barden grip. Rory McIlroy, Fleetwood, look how good they hit it. Even, Matt Fitzpatrick, he swings fast, but he's got a very good grip. And so, it comes down. I don't know why it's such a big fad right now on the U.S. Tour, but I've watched the last 3 U.S. Opens. I'm in there for 2 of them and watching on their long holes. And you've got these weak grippers with bowed left wrist And it's almost impossible to play golf like that unless you're just hitting fades. And I think it puts him at a great disadvantage. So, Morikawa, that golf course wasn't fit for him. Those bunkers are so deep there, you have to hit the ball up in the air. I remember when in Sandy Lyle in the Masters when he won in '88, they deepened that 18th bunker. I avoided it like the plague because I couldn't even get out of it. It was that deep. They went 5 feet deeper. And it was so deep, they had to level it out the next year and bring it up. But Sandy was the only guy in that field that could get out of that bunker on that green. And it was because he had so much strength and he could hit the ball so high. And that's what wins major tournaments and wins on a place like Bethpage. So it's the attention to detail that makes it really happen for the players.
Absolutely fascinating. Raymond Burns is now one of the world's great coaches, one of the great teachers at Malahide outside of Dublin. Ramey, I'd like to ask you about another subject. We've been hearing about the setup of the golf course, that it was too soft. And I'm not just talking about physically the way the ball reacted on the ground, although that's an element of it with the rain that came in. I'm talking about the length of the rough. Keegan Bradley has admitted that it was a mistake. What I'm interested in is why. Why was it a mistake in terms of the setup of the golf course, and how did that benefit Team Europe?
I think the golf course was made very easy. I mean, Bethpage is one of the hardest golf courses in the world. It's supposed to play the most difficult golf course in the world. But I even noticed following Rory McIlroy's game on Friday and Saturday, both games actually, like if he was in the rough by 2 feet, he had more of a chance of stopping the ball at the flag. Where if you're on the fairway, the ball was spinning away from the hole. And I think a lot of the American golfers hit a lot of fairways, and they kept spinning the ball with their iron shots into the flag sticks and kept spinning, to that sort of 20 feet, 25 feet mark. And Europe just seemed to hit the ball closer to the hole. We're able to make more putts, but I think that the course setup, even wayward shots were actually okay. Where we've seen in the past here, when Tiger won here, when Lucas Glover, I think, won here, when Brooks Koepka won here. If you didn't hit the fairway was that was your main goal, to get the ball in the fairway. And from any direction at this Ryder Cup, it didn't really matter if you missed the fairway by 20 yards, 30 yards, 40 yards. You seemed to have a lie that could get you to the green. And I think personally, you take players like Russell Henley, Matt Fitzpatrick. It played out of the hands of a lot of the American players. I mean, even Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler plays well on tough golf courses. And this course was made relatively easy for Keegan Bradley. And to have that in your mind, say, on a Tuesday morning after a Ryder Cup as a captain, he must feel that he's made a mistake in the course setup. I mean, the American team captain has a say in how long the rough's going to be, how fast the greens are going to be, what type of bunkers they want, what type of everything. And I think that was nearly the 13th club for Europe, was the fact that the golf course suited them really, really well.
Raymond, how much was it a factor, too? You alluded to it already, that Team Europe came in a week early to do their research on the golf course. So when the rains came in, any delays came in, all the pressure of the week and the demands, it really didn't impact Team Europe because they were already having the time of their lives on Long Island.
Yeah, I think that was a big call. How Luke Donald pulls that off, I don't know. But for this whole team to come over here on the Sunday night, flying straight into New York from Wentworth, to come in here for 2 days. I mean, these guys have schedules that are beyond and way beyond all of our schedules. But to do that, the John Rahms, the Tyrrell Hattons, Rory McIlroys, Shane Lowry, all these people to come in, and you could see that the fun, even last Saturday, when I saw a photograph of, I think, John Rahm, Tyrrell Hatton, Rory McIlroy, I think it might have been Fisher's Island, I'm not sure, or Maidstone, that played golf, but you could even tell that the fun that they were actually back to as they were kids. They were just like, my daughter goes out and plays a few holes on a Saturday. They seem to love the fact that we're here and having a few, I don't know if they had a few pints or a few wines or a bit of golf, but they were enjoying themselves. And I think that's how Luke Donald created the ambience around his team. He's created 12 players, like 11 of these players played in Italy, which is phenomenal to come to New York then 2 years later. Let's see how many of these players will play going forward. I spoke to Justin Rose. I interviewed him on Sunday evening, and I said, this team's around for a long time, and this team is going to be around for another 4 or 6 or 8 years. I mean, Justin Rose is 45, 46 years old, but some of these kids are young kids that are going to be around, and Europe's going to be around for a long time. But the passion, I just think the passion that the players have from Team Europe, for whatever reason, I think Chip said it about Sevi, or, we've created this Ryder Cup thing in our heads in Europe, and that's what we want to achieve. And we've now got more major winners back home than we've ever had before, and that's around the world. And that just shows you the strength and depth of golf that's been coming around the world. But I do think that the American captains going forward, wherever they are, have to make the golf course the same or similar to major championship, what players are used to, what players practice for. And I don't think the American team practiced for a soft Bethpage. I think they thought they were coming to the hardest golf course in the world. They just got it totally wrong, in my opinion.
Fascinating stuff coming from Raymond Burns, former player on the European Tour, now called the DP World Tour. He was a part of SiriusXM's excellent worldwide radio coverage of the Ryder Cup. If you were with us at the start of the show, you heard him calling the pivotal moment when it was ensured that the Cup would be going back across the Atlantic with the European team, as Shane Lowry made that critically important point. When we come back, I have a feeling that Ramey knows whether Luke Donald will be back for a third try as captain of the European Ryder Cup team. I'm going to ask him after this, and I want to ask Chip Beck, with that 6-2-1 record, are we tapping into the wisdom of the guys that have been there and done that and known success for Team USA? What does need to be next? What's the answer? Right after this.
This is golf.
A shot, honey.
And this is Golf's Superstore.
Oh, yeah, we'll take this.
In Ireland, golf is more than just a game. Come and experience our world-famous links courses and our world-famous Parkland courses, all set alongside world-famous scenery. And visit our world-famous historic sites. And while you're here, enjoy our world-famous hospitality. Fill your heart with Ireland at ireland.com/golf.
Ben Hogan Golf Equipment is back. Established in 1953, we serve golfers who demand excellence of their equipment. Designed by the game's best engineers, forged in the world's best foundries, and built to order in the USA. Don't settle for off-the-rack disappointment. Elevate your game with custom clubs at direct-to-consumer pricing. Exclusively at benhogangolf.com. That's benhogangolf.com.
We know there's more in you. More distance, more accuracy, more consistency. That's why we created the PXG Black Ops driver to unleash your potential. Packed with innovative technology and unmatched adjustability, PXG Black Ops drivers are custom fitted for your swing and engineered to maximize your performance. To play your best, play the best. PXG Black Ops drivers. Book your fitting at pxg.com or a PXG location near you. PXG, you've never played like this before.
Imagine your ultimate golf experience. There's a good chance it's Michigan's Magnificent 11. 11 spectacular courses from Boyne Golf, varied in both topography and play. Boyne Golf was named the #1 best golf destination in USA Today Reader's Choice 2025. And the Highlands at Harbor Springs is the #2 golf resort in that same USA Today poll. The ultimate golf experience. That's Michigan's Magnificent 11.
Hey, I'm golf broadcaster Matt Adams. You know, Hub's Peanuts has been cooking up the top 1% of peanuts for over 70 years. And these aren't your average nut. These are super extra large Virginia peanuts cooked in the USA. Family-owned Hub's Peanuts have more protein than any other nuts. So whether it's a boost on the course or a special gift, the variety of flavors guarantees Hub's Peanuts is just what you need. Family-owned, nutritious, delicious, and sustainable. Hub's Peanuts, it's just right. HubsPeanuts.com.
When you choose Newton shafts, you're choosing more than a product. You're choosing innovation pride, and excellence right here in America. We pay attention to the minutest of details, and you can feel that in the performance of our shafts.
4! This is golf, and this is Golf Superstore, the only place you can walk in for a free driver fitting, have it built, and tee it up the same day. Try Fit and Go today.
As we welcome you back to the Fairways of Life show, yeah, that was it. Bethpage Black was the canvas upon which it all played out. Some of it in wonderful color, some of it in some darker places. As to some of the questions that I was asking you before we went to break, the Fairways of Life show is the only golf news and talk show, television show in the world that actually asks you your opinion while we're on the air. If you log on to our Fairways of Life YouTube channel, there we will have the question. Dom, what was your question today for the people, and what responses are you getting?
It's pretty simple at this point. Does the U.S. Ryder Cup system need to be overhauled on the U.S. side? Yes or no? And right now we're at 73% with a hard yes.
73% of respondents are saying that changes need to be made. Will those changes be felt on the European side? Raymond Burns is with us, one of my best friends in the world, one of the great coaches now anywhere in the globe, just outside of Dublin, if you're on that side of the pond at Malahide. If you're looking for a lesson from a man that competed at the highest tiers, which is interesting because, Raymond, when I think about it, you tell me, in the last 20 years, 25 years, you competed against every single European captain. Did you compete against Luke Donald in any events?
Hey, I did, yes. Luke, I think Luke won the Eisenhower Trophy back in maybe Argentina. Paul Casey, one of my good friends, grew up playing golf with Paddy Gribben, was on that team. I mean, Luke Donald's been around a long time. And I was alluding to your question there earlier about, this is one of the, he has been number one in the United States PGA Tour. He's been number one in Europe. He was number one in the world. I mean, this is one of the best golfers that we've had in this side of the pond. And he was probably never, ever going to be a Ryder Cup captain because there was Henrik Stenson, there's obviously Ian Poulter, there's Sergio Garcia, there's Lee Westwood. But for him to fit into this role and the way he's conducted himself, I mean, he has become like, a Shakespeare in regards to his level of detail, his level of commitment to the team. He's put his life on hold for nearly 4.5 years to do a job that, four years ago, he didn't even know he was going to do because Henrik Stenson was going to be the Ryder Cup captain. And the way that he has eased through it and the passion that he has for it, but also the players. I don't think I've ever seen a Ryder Cup captain that the players actually want to be another Ryder Cup captain. You have a captain and Padraig Harrington, and then Padraig goes off and he does his own thing, and you have Darren Clark, you have Paul McGinley, you have obviously Seve, you had Jose Maria Lotharbal that did their 2-year stint or whatever it takes now. But this guy's been doing this nearly for 5 years, 4 years, and I know for a fact that these players will want him to do another Ryder Cup. Now, should he do another Ryder Cup? If I was Luke Donald and becoming 50, I want to go play the Seniors Tour. I want to go play do my job. It's a lot of work to be a Ryder Cup captain, and he's just done an unbelievable job, in my opinion.
Ramey, just to wrap this up because we're running out of time, will Luke Donald be back as captain for the European side, yes or no?
I think the players will want him back. Whether he does it or not is another, but I think he might do a Durham Manor, yes.
All right. Chip Beck, 6-2-1 in your Ryder Cup record, 3 times representing the United States. You just heard that the vast majority of respondents, these are people from all over the world weighing in on the question of, does Team USA need to change something in the behind-the-scenes structure of how they do what they do? Where do you fall on that question?
I'd say it needs to be overhauled. You can't have every captain a new experience all the way around. I mean, like you're talking about, Luke Donald being able to change the sheets and the shampoo and getting the doors organized because he knew what to anticipate. He knew the problems from before. In my day, we had Raymond, we had Tom Watson and Dave Stockton. They had experience, and they were at a time in their lives when, I mean, we missed Hale Irwin. Hale Irwin didn't win a PGA, I don't think, but he won 4 or 5 U.S. Opens. We can't let guys like that get through the cracks. Or Justin Leonard. Justin Leonard could be a great coach, but you got to take guys, I think, that are ready and have the experience. And, it takes a consensus now. So we need a group where you can have the Steve Stricker come in and Azinger, people that have been successful. And like I said, we did lose Payne Stewart, and he was the guy that really gelled our team because he was jumping up on the table. He had that enthusiasm of these young European players today. So we have to be able to figure out how to make it work, and we're not doing it. And I think the President's Cup really hurts the Ryder Cup because our top players are playing every year, and it's just another time of not getting a break for them, and it's hard work. So we have to be able to figure out a way that we can gel our team. And so, obviously the preparation wasn't there the last 2 events. I think in Italy, we didn't play for 4 weeks, some of the guys, the majority of the players. They were unprepared. And then also we've taken bad teams to like France where everything's a dog leg and the winds are left to right across. I mean, even Dustin Johnson was having trouble hitting his irons in the fairway. And we had our longest, most inaccurate team there. And we do that time and time. We make too many big mistakes, Raymond hit the nail on the head. Those greens were slow. I mean, Henley left the putt downhill on the 17th hole and 18th hole right in the middle of the cup. Is just like it. We've never seen slow greens like that in America. So I don't know what's going on, but we've got to figure it out, and we've got to come together as the PGA of America and make the right changes to bring it about. And I do think that the change of the rule is going to be a factor. Where if a guy's injured, he's got to play or forfeit.
Right, the envelope rule, which was used in 1991 when Steve Pate got injured after an automobile accident. It was used in 93 when Sam Torrance had the injured toe. It was used again this year. We'll see how that plays itself out as both sides have had to enact it in the past. Only a couple minutes left here. Ramey, let me jump in with you. I know there's a lot of simmering anger across the pond for the way Team Europe was treated in New York by a very small minority of the gallery that was there, but nonetheless, I'm not trying to diminish what they felt and what they look back on. When history looks back on this Ryder Cup, will it be remembered for the brilliance of Team Europe, for the near comeback of Team USA, or will it be remembered for what took place outside the ropes?
I think a bit of both. I think the way Rory was treated was horrendous, and that's I witnessed it. I witnessed it myself. You don't mind if a player is playing a shot and they keep quiet, but to be actually playing and hitting a shot, and to get the response from the crowd he was getting. But look, it probably made him. It made him more resilient, and he talked with his clubs, and so did Shane Lowry, and so did the rest of the European team. So I had the most unbelievable experience on that golf course, watching a great game being played. I think the crowd, 99.9% of the crowd were phenomenal. Very great etiquette, the whole thing. I think it was a little bit overplayed from a certain extent, from certain people a few times, but it was an amazing Ryder Cup, an amazing venue, amazing weather, 2 great teams, and they all showed up and they all put on a spectacular golf and showbiz weekend, and it was one of the best experiences of my life, and I think a lot of people that came to Bethpage had a phenomenal experience as well. But we can come up with all the excuses that we want, but fortunately for Europe, they put it better, they held more putts, more crucial moments, and the US team weren't able to deliver, but they tried their best on Sunday.
There is the summation. We will sum up the Fairways of Life show, folks, when we come back from this break right after this.
I got ball fit in 2000, went on a little run. Then Bridgestone fit me again, and I went on another run. I just got fit again for the new Tour BX. The ball fitting's been helping me. Will it help you?
What does it take to be an original?
Cam knows something about that. So does Chi-Chi, Charlie, and you get it. In 1955, we stepped onto the scene. Now a new generation of pros are wearing the most iconic styles in the game. The fit, the feel, the look. It's all an expression of you. Original Penguin. Here for the good times.
Golfers today are a different breed.
Who? Me?
We see the game in a different way.
We all have our own styles.
We swing our own swing.
We have one thing in common.
We are all about the details.
Introducing the Revel line of grips from Superstroke. With 3 distinct offerings to choose from, the Revel is in the details.
Want more distance, accuracy, and forgiveness with your irons? Yeah, you do. PXG's exceptional Gen 7 irons are custom fitted for your swing and feature unmatched precision adjustability to maximize your performance. To play your best, play the best. PXG Gen 7 irons. Book your fitting at pxg.com or a PXG location near you.
Nice, straight, and far.
Funnest experience I've ever had.
Would recommend it to anyone.
PXG, you've never played like this before.
FlightScope Mevo Plus is the ultimate indoor and outdoor golf launch monitor and simulator. It gives you the club and ball data you need with the accuracy you demand. Mevo Plus comes with ownership of simulated golf courses for you to play and practice at home. Mevo Plus is an essential golf partner to help you improve and understand your game better. Put more purpose in your practice. To learn more and get your Mevo Plus, shop now at flightscope.com.
When you choose Newton shafts, you're choosing more than a product. You're choosing innovation, pride, and excellence right here in America. We pay attention to the minutest of details, and you can feel that in the performance of our shafts.
So I've listened to the commentary today of our esteemed guest and gained a lot from it. I hope you guys have as well. I realize it's one guy's opinion here that I'm about to give you, but I think there's a few places to go. First of all, I think we should dispense with what I see as a lazy commentary that somehow the Ryder Cup means more to the European side than it does to the United States players. I think Scotty's tears once more watered down that tired refrain. In my view, and in many ways, it's in sharp contrast to Team Europe. Despite the efforts to flip the script when the surprising appointment of Keegan Bradley was made as captain for the U.S. side, he, the self-described outsider, he appeared to be an agent of change right from the start. Ultimately, I think, though, he was swept up into the same ideology that has defined mostly failure in the USA's Ryder Cup efforts for over 25 years. That's a failing, I think, of cohesion, of familiarity, of mindset, of commitment, of infrastructure, of vision, of ascension, and ultimately, leadership. You know, we search for the elusive in Europe's success, but to me, part of it's been right before our eyes the entire time. Europe's Ryder Cup team is administered by what was then called the European Tour, now the DP World Tour. I believe that much like USA Basketball, Team USA should be an umbrella over the President's Cup and the Ryder Cup teams. It should be administered independent of tours and governing bodies and in issues of money and commerce. I think that, all of golf, especially at that macro level, they kind of thirst for the elixir of these new demographics, the shiny, the new, the influenced. But I'd actually suggest, based upon what Chip Beck was talking about, an advisory board that's made up of players that were been there during the halcyon days of success. They're still with us. Larry Nelson, Lee Trevino, Paul Azinger, maybe a Chip Beck amongst the group. And there's many, 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 many more. And I'm not saying that's the whole answer. Maybe put Michael Jordan on, et cetera, et cetera. What I'm saying is that I think contrary to what people are saying, where many people point to failings of the players, I think what we saw on Sunday is that the players are capable when they're given the proper opportunities. And Europe has figured that out. I think on the American side, they need to work that out as well. Our guests today have been, I think, so fantastic with their commentary. Ramey, first of all, congratulations to you as a former European Tour, DP World Tour player, and for your great coverage. Thank you very much for joining us today, my friend. It was good to see you.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you very much.
And Chip, your comments, I thought, were so telling and so deep. I hope you enjoyed this opportunity to kind of talk to the world about it, but we wanted to thank you for your time as well.
Matt, I love your show. All my family loves it. So thank you for having me. And Raymond, nice seeing you again. God bless you.
It was an honor to have both you with us today. And folks, it is always an honor for your company. Until we are together again, we wish you the very, very best. Be well, and goodbye for now.